Next question is how design is transforming our city. And to answer that is Eduardo Teixeira-Alves, more than 20 years of experience in the organization of trade shows and international trade promotion with a professional career in China, USA, Brazil, Sweden, Italy, India, Hong Kong, and Turkey. Currently, he's in charge of the direction of the International Promotion Department of World Design Capital, Valencia 2022. So, how design is transforming the city. Let's welcome Eduardo. Oh,
Hi, everyone. My name is Eduardo Teixeira, and I'm, as I said, the presenter responsible for international promotion at World Design Capital Valencia. It couldn't be anyone else. Just think about it. I'm Portuguese born, raised in Spain, talking in English, now in Lithuania. So it had to be me in the team. So, first of all, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the organization of Kaunas, European Capital of Culture, for inviting us here, but also to the Spanish Embassy in Lithuania and the Lithuanian Consulate in Valencia, who are super, super, super active in promoting Kaunas, European Capital of Culture in Spain. Well, in Valencia, this is the case that I know the most. So we say hola in Spanish, so sveiki in Lithuanian. So I'm here mostly to talk about what we are doing in Valencia. As you know, we have been chosen or to host the World Design Capital in this 2022. But of course, this is an exciting year ahead of us. Well, ahead. It's being a very hectic year of program and activities, but it is not just a program of events or like year long design week. The important thing of World Design Capital Valencia 2022 is that it is a real project of transformation. So, you will see later, whereas this year we have many, many activities, in fact, our work will start in 2023. So, when we were bidding for to become World Design Capital in, I think, 3 years and a half ago, it looks like the Neolithic, but it was only 3 years and a half ago, we were asking ourselves, what do we have? I mean, how can we become World Design Capital, which is our critical mass? And then we started to ask our questions ourselves. And then, of course, first of all, we have a strategic vision. I mean, we want this World Design Capital to be like a role model of a city transformation of Valencia, but also a role model for other Mediterranean cities, European cities, but also with other Latin American cities with whom you all know that we share the Hispanic culture and the Spanish language. Um, yes, and but most especially World Design Capital in the long term, we really want to be a project in which that design is at the forefront of all the political decision making, the institutions, the corporations, the economy, and of course the academic and education of our citizens. So As I said before, when we were bidding to become World Design Capital, we were asking ourselves, what do we have? Which is our critical mass? And then we made this analysis. And then, of course, we are not starting from the scratch because Valencia has been living design for centuries. Valencia, I don't know whether if you guys have been there, but Valencia, it was the last stop of the Silk Route that started in China. So traditionally, even now, just by just walking on the streets, you feel the architecture, the gastronomy, the graphic design. There's something very visual and very colorful that really inspires design, right? But real, I mean, even for centuries, from the 15th, 16th, 7th century, we were making already design with the Silk Route, with the silk trade, with the production, with the ceramics, with the pottery in our traditions. So, but of course, we were not aware that we were doing design. But if you think about the Valencia region, for example, we're a super powerhouse on the production and manufacturing and exporting of furniture, lighting, home textiles, ceramics, toys, and also tiles. I mean, we are like the second largest cluster of tile production in Europe. So we are designed. I mean, the city is designed, the region is totally designed. And we have been a traditional hotspot for the Spanish design, not only Valencian design, for many, many reasons. Number one is because most of our most internationally acclaimed designers are from Valencia. Number two, because they decided to move and live to Valencia, like Jaime Ayon. Or number three, because they work for Valencian companies, like Patricia Urquiola for Andrew World. So we have been a real powerhouse in designs for many, many, many years. Uh, of course, when did this analysis and this research, we noticed that we have the industry, we have the academic, the schools. Some of the design schools in Valencia are considered Spain's best in industrial design, and we had everything, entrepreneurs, etc. So we had a critical mass. Then they decided also we ask ourselves which kind of city are we and which kind of city do we want to become. And of course, number one, we are the Mediterranean city. We want to stay purely Mediterranean. We don't want to be gentrified. We are open, sustainable, healthy, creative, competitive, tolerant, but also industrial. Valencia has the biggest container port in the Mediterranean Sea. So we really want to mix up the pleasures of living in a small, compact city with the ambition to be in a very big metropolis. So this is what we had and what we had in mind. So, but when we wanted to really spot Valencia on the world map, then we turned into the World Design Organization. The World Design Organization is the consultative body of United Nations in the field of design. And every 2 years, they have this initiative called World Design Capital. So the cities bid, and then of course you just give them like book like this. It's enormous. It took 1 year and a half and with a program of events and which are your perspectives and what you do you want to do what you want to do in the city. And then we won against Bengaluru, India. And of course every so we were chosen as World Design Capital. This is the moment of the announcement, literally was live. So from now onwards, once we have become World Design Capital, we have three main targets. If we really want to change the city or the city model that we aim. Number one is the citizens and the general public, because the more design conscious that our citizens are, then the more sophisticated products they will demand, the more high quality services they will demand. And then, of course, this will revert into the government. They will have to change and follow also the trends and the demands of the citizens and of our companies. Because, as you very well know, when innovations through design is applied to the companies become more competitive. Then, of course, this evolves into higher salaries, and then, of course, with general prosperity. So, but those are my main three targets this year with World Design Capital Valencia in the 2022, and of course, 2023 onwards. So, what do we want to become? Number one, of course, we want to reinforce the brand Valencia and Spain at an international level, because of course, many of you guys know that Spain is a powerhouse in tourism, maybe in other industries, but not so much in creativity and design. So this event will be used from the perspective of a cultural diplomacy to really people perceive Spain as a destination or a hub for creativity and design. Number two, this is of course the most important. We really want to position design as a tool for transformation in the whole society, in the structure of the economy, in the institutions. Of course, we want to design the design culture to really permeate our citizens because of the reasons that I mentioned before. And of course, the introduction of innovation in our companies to become more competitive and a more prosperous region. So, how can I achieve all this? I mean, those are my goals. Then we have two different options, A and B. So let's go first with the A, which is the one that it's happening right now. But for the long term and for the vision of the city that we have is going to be the B, like you will see. So now we are in fact organizing the largest and most ambitious uh, design monography in the history of Spain, with more than 200 projects, either if it's city interventions, meetings and gatherings, congresses, publications, exhibitions, and etc. And we've done this with more than 70 partnerships on a global ecosystem with academic institutions, media partners, cultural venues, entities, and also with collaborating with other cities. Our program of events that we are developing this year is totally certified or has the avail of a leading group of nice people. I mean, they are our international advisory committee, made up when the Ben Evans, the director of the London Design Festival, Jaime Ayon, of course, one of our leading designers. Hannah Harris, she's a very key figure because she is the chief design officer in the City Council of Helsinki, Finland. And as some of you may know, Helsinki was the very first city in the world who choose the figure of or the institution of the chief design officer for the very first time. So, and then of course we have Marco Sammicheli, the director of the Triennale, and all those people are they certify that our program of events is of a certain quality and really pays tribute to the title of World Design Capital. So this part I'm not going to stand very much because you have this one on our website. It's the program of events that we are doing in the city. But as I said before, we needed this program, a really world-class program of events of a certain impact to really raise awareness in the citizens, in the institutions, among our politicians, and in our companies to really, from now onwards, to really all of us all together, we focus on our targets as a city to really transform our city through the access of design. So those are something. But anyway, we have from everything, from publications, design TV, and this is something very nice that we have right now in the city center. It's just like an agora. Well, it's called agora. In fact, it's a meeting place for the citizens to meet, to discuss, to learn, to get inspired uh, with design events, etc. Even night events. Of course, it's Spain. But this is the part that really is the most important one, this structural one. As I said before, World Design Capital Valencia is not a program of events only on 2022, but has a vision for the future. And this part of the legacy is really one starts in 2023, when we close the door to the year 22, and then we open the door again to the year 2023. So we have decided that there's going to be a foundation. It's going to be Valencia Design Foundation. They will really carry all the duties that we started with World Design Capital 2022 by trying to engage citizens, companies, public institutions, so that we all together transform our city model. Um, this is some of the examples of or the initiatives that this foundation is already carrying out, and some of the others that we will have in the future. Number one, we have just created the Design Council. The Design Council it was 3 weeks ago. Is an institution within the Valencia City Council, made up of 7 men and 7 women, all of them with a very different background in architecture, urban planning, design, etc., etc. So that From now onwards, every single decision at the city level in the City Council of Valencia, they will have to they will certify and they will avail that there's this totally right from the design point of view, whether if it's functionality, aesthetics, the value for the citizen, and all those aspects, right? So it is unique in Spain. It's the very first time in our country that a city council has a design council within the framework of all the political municipal city decision making. Number two, we will establish the Center of Design just to pay tribute to our designers, to our industry. We will create the Valencian Design Museum, the archive of Valencian design, and also the very first museum for visual and digital arts. So that one is in the making. The Design District Valencia, this is already a reality. um, it is taking it's in fact taking shape right now by combining together an area of the universities and their labs and the research and development units of our universities with the startup incubators that we have in the city and the creative studios. And it is in La Marina de Valencia, which is our seaside, which is really fantastic. So the website is in the making, but it will be launched very, very soon. Some of the others institutions, yeah, it's the it will this has to be yet this has to take shape a little bit further. It will be in the shape of the education in our educational system. But mostly speaking, everything is going on with all the institutions in Valencia in the region, city and the region. And at the end, World Design Capital Valencia, this 2022, we aim to organize uh, more than 200 events with the visit of 150 key opinion leaders, 7 world-class international congresses, and one of them, if in fact happening in the very first week of November, the World Design Policy Conference, and how can design from the political point of view or design policies can improve our lives from a city level and a country level. And at the end, just this year, we aim to attract 200,000 visitors to the city of Valencia. And we really want to generate the reach of 2 million people with our project. But do not forget that at the very, very end, what we really want is just to transform our city from the 23 onwards with all those, with the help of the foundation, the Valencia Design Foundation. And of course, this is all thanks to our sponsors. And thank you very much. That has been my part. I hope that I made it on time.
Great. We definitely have some time for questions and answers. Could you come on stage, Eduardo?
Yeah,
Yep, here
of
with me.
course.
Yeah,
Sorry.
some questions and answers.
Yes.
Who has any question for Eduardo about Valencian design? There is no one envious of the design board for the city. Oh, sorry, you have a question. Sorry, there are some lights here we can't see.
Hello. Maybe I'm giving too many questions. Sorry, but I'm curious. Based on what did you choose the priorities of Valencia to work on when you talked about the aspects of identity of the city? When you made the introduction, sustainability. Another. Yeah, did you do a research, or how did you come up with these kind of aspects to work on? Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course. There is when we this the whole process starts with research, and then based on of course the think tank that was in charge of the how can I say the mem um, yes, the bidding memory, or no, it's not the bidding dossier. So it was we were conducting questions and among our citizens, but of course, but it is nothing that it is not from our DNA. Being a Mediterranean city, it is on our DNA. We are open, tolerant, healthy. I mean, those are part of our how can I say features as a city, and we want to maintain them. But of course, we were making the research with the think tank group and on interviews, etc. And we were also asking the citizens which is the ideal city in which they want to live in. So those were most of the replies. Yes, thank you
Thank you.
very much for your question.
Yeah. One more question.
Primero, bienvenidos a Lithuania. But the question is, you mentioned that Spain is a tourism powerhouse, but not as much for design. But from my experience and my point of view, there's a lot of culture, especially north of Spain, Bilbao, San Sebastian,
Yeah,
Barcelona,
yeah.
Valencia, and so on. How does Valencia position itself between all that, and how do these cultures interact within Spain? That's an interesting angle. Thank
Well,
you.
thanks. Um, of course, when I mentioned that we are mostly, generally speaking, known as a tourist destination, is because also we work with the Murphy Law. There is a 20% of population in the world that really appreciates the Spanish creativity and design, but most 80% is still is driven by, how can I say, cliches, cliches. So, but of course, this is one of the those events, and of course, the reason one that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has decided that this event is of vital importance is because of that, because it really helps to change the perception that people may have at international level or in other countries about our country, more driven by creativity and design. How other cultures, I mean, the design community in Spain is so diverse and so varied. I mentioned also the example before. Many Jaime Ayon, he's born in Madrid, but now he lives and works from Valencia. Patricia Urquiola, she is from Asturias, from the north of Spain, and she works for Valencian companies. At the end, we don't see that there are many differences in terms of design, because traditionally, I some weeks ago I was in Finland in the Helsinki Design Week, and one of the questions of the design diplomacy initiative was I did it myself, in fact, to the public. So, what do you have in mind when you think about Spanish design? And everybody said it's color, it's optimism, it's energy. So, and that really, it's for. I mean, it doesn't. They don't refer only to a specific region, but for the whole country. So, generally speaking, of course, we have small differences, cultural differences between the north and the south. But generally speaking, I mean, we work as a unity in terms of design, because at the end design also has a, how can I say, a market or a, not, I don't want to sound commercial, but as a target, a public. So, and we are more or less the same. So thank you very much for your question.
Thank you. And let's wrap up for the moment. Thanks, Eduardo, once again. A round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.